Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked, or the second half. We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse. I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed. Coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in that second half. It sucked. It stunk.
NFL, oh, I miss you so. NFL, when you left, there was a hole deep in my soul. Now it is whole until the Super Bowl.
Hey YouTube, it's time for another episode of Let's Have Some Football. Week 1 is in the books. I will, at the beginning of the show, talk about the results last week on the picks. On my picks, I think I did really well. A good start on my picks. In my fantasy football league, we also have a side pick'em games contest, and I won that one. I had the most wins. I had 12 picks right this week. So a good week for Sandyfrank, and my fantasy football team won. Of course, I have lots of Baltimore Ravens, and they scored a lot of points, and thus my fantasy team won. So we're off to a 1-0 start there. And also, we are doing our Survivor Knockout contest here on the channel. The winner will get this wild card illumination. There is an autograph in there in the box. These boxes back here are just some boxes I got from my Mega Mix box from Blowout Cards. I actually got 3 NFL. Well, I guess the Prism Draft Picks isn't NFL. I actually got 3 pretty decent football boxes out of there. Alright, so looking at the picks this week. Okay, so last week for the Survivor League, or the Survivor now League with the contest, or knockout, whatever. Only 2 participants. Me and Winto. And Winto's played this every year, and he's won it, I think, a couple times. So, if I win, I keep my box. If Winto wins, he gets this box. So, he's got like a 50-50 shot. And if he's a better picker than me, he probably has a way better than 50-50 shot at winning that. So, Winto went with the Tampa Bay Bucks. It was close, but they did win. So, Winto goes on to week 2. I picked Denver Broncos. They won. That game was not that easy of a game either, as it turned out. Browns fought them pretty hard, and I survived to go to week 2 also. And one of the rules, I'm sure Winto knows this, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, you cannot use the same team twice. So if this gets deep into the season of me versus Winto, just keep in mind, Winto cannot pick the Bucks again. I cannot pick Denver again. So let's go over the games. I will, at the end, tell you my knockout pick for this week. Alright, so the first game is tonight when I'm filming this. I'll be posting this on Friday. So, unfortunately, we cannot pick this game for the knockout pick. But it is the Commanders at the Packers. I feel like this is going to be a great game. I'm really interested to see how Jaden Daniels does. They did win their first game, and Green Bay looked really good their first game. I am going to pick the Packers, though, in this game, being at Green Bay, at Lambeau. The next games are on Sunday. Of course, these are all open for the knockout picks, Winto, in case you're wondering. Besides, you can't have the Bucks. All right, so we got Jacksonville at Cincinnati. The Bengals, they killed me last year in a knockout thing because I think they got severely upset week 1 and knocked out me and like tons of people that did knockout things. But they did win this first game this year. And wait, I thought Denver. Okay, Denver did not play the Bengals. Played the Browns. That's what it was. The Broncos played the Titans. Sorry for that screw up there. All right, the Jaguars at the Bengals. I go with the Bengals in this game. And they actually got this year started off with the win. Next game, Giants at the Cowboys. The Cowboys actually played really well that game, and I think their momentum got stomped by the weather delay because they seemed like just nothing happened after that. So weather delay helped the Eagles that game for sure. Giants at Cowboys. Giants are terrible. I'm going to go Cowboys in that game. Bears at Lions. The Bears almost beat Minnesota in their first game Monday night. And I actually picked the Bears in a like my fantasy football league knockout, which I didn't know we were doing it until Monday, so I had to pick one game, either Vikings or Bears, and I picked Bears. But I think I picked Vikings in the actual video last week. But I think the Lions will win this. Lions are weaker than last year, but they're still better than the Bears, I think. Rams at the Titans. This is not a game I'm that interested in. I think the Rams win this. Patriots at Dolphins. Man, this is another one that's like not that exciting. I think a lot of people are down on the Dolphins, but I think I will pick the Dolphins in that one. I think they you can't overact off of week 1, so I think they're going to. They were really bad week 1. I think they win at home against New England. New England's not like a Super Bowl caliber team, I don't think. All right, 49ers at the Saints. The Saints were just as bad as I thought they'd be, and 49ers will have no problem here. Bills at the Jets. The Bills looked amazing. Maybe a little bit lucky in that game. There's been criticisms of John Harbaugh on his late game coaching decisions, and they kind of like pulled the old throttle back at the end of that game, and Buffalo went in there and he's like, okay, you're opening the door for us, we'll take it. And the Bills won that game. Bills at the Jets. I like the Bills in this game. I'm not a big Jets guy, and the Bills are pretty awesome. Seahawks at Steelers. Aaron Rodgers did really well on the road his first game as a Steeler, and I like the Steelers in that game. Browns at Ravens. Ravens should be pretty perturbed that they let that game get away. I definitely think the Ravens are going to win that game at home against the Browns, even though the Browns are probably better than people think. Broncos at the Colts. This is a tough one right here. I kind of lean toward the Broncos because I think they're a really solid team offensively and defensively. And I'm not a big believer in Daniel Jones, but man, they looked good the first game. But I'll pick Denver in that game. Carolina at Arizona. This is I think that's a pretty safe bet to take Arizona in that game. They actually are favored by 6.5 points as I'm looking at that the line there. The Eagles at the Chiefs. I hate watching the Eagles. I don't know what I think it's just this team is just they're boring to watch because of all the runs and the tush pushes, and they're very predictable offense, but man, can they be stopped? They're like an inevitability when they're out there. It's annoying, and I don't like watching it. So they've built a juggernaut with those offensive defensive line that they have. They have built that team in the trenches, and I mean, shame on the rest of the NFL for not keeping up with those lines that they have, because they can just muscle teams away and just, you know, I mean, you have AJ Brown. I think he had one target that game. Like, they barely had to throw the ball. They just own the offensive line and the defensive line. It's not exciting, but I'm sure if you're an Eagles fan, you're loving it. I love the Chiefs, but I have to go to the Eagles. The Chiefs' offensive line is still not good. This was the first time I've watched the Chiefs in this week 1. They did lose in that game, and they just didn't seem like the Chiefs. Like last year, they were able to control the game, and even though they were not explosive like in years past, they still had control of the game. This week 1 that they had, just the Chiefs just, like, the Chargers, like, ran the Chargers played their game. The Chiefs could never play their game that game, and it might be. I think the Chiefs will have a good year, but man, they need some help already. And it's week 1. That offensive line is still not good. Losing Xavier Worthy hurt them big time. I think if Worthy comes back and Rice is back from his suspension, I think they will resurge a little bit. But man, this is it's tough watching the Chiefs right now because they just don't seem like they're controlling the game anymore, and that's what the Chiefs are so good at. So I'm gonna go Eagles just because I don't think that offensive line is gonna hold up against the Eagles defense, and then you have just the inevitability of the Eagles marching down fields. With that offensive line they got. Sad, but I have to pick the Eagles. Falcons at Vikings. Vikings, hey, the J.J. McCarthy era is here and looks to be off to a good start. Rough start of that game Monday night, but they came back, rallied, and looked really good in winning that game. You have to be happy as a Vikings fan after the second half that they played. I go Vikings in that game against the Falcons. And then Monday night we have 2 games. Tampa Bay at Houston. The Texans. I think I'm going to go Texans in this game. A lot of people are probably going to pick Tampa Bay. But I think Tampa Bay kind of lucked out week 1. And the Texans, they're going to really need a win this week. I think it's more of a desperation. It's hard to say desperation in week 2. But I just think the Texans will win that. Chargers at Raiders. I'm not impressed with the Raiders. I think the Chargers will win. So, that's my picks. My knockout pick for this contest, Survivor contest, I cannot pick Denver. I'm going with Baltimore. I have to go Ravens. That has a easy win written all over it against the Browns. So the Baltimore Ravens are my knockout pick. We'll see how my fantasy team does this week. We're taking on a team that's kind of struggling right now. So if Baltimore has a decent game, I should be okay in the fantasy league because I have several Baltimore players. Like Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. It just happened to work out that way. This is a dynasty league, and I've been able to accumulate those guys, and they've done me well. But when they have a bad game, I have a bad game. It's kind of, if you have a lot of players on the same team, you kind of ride that team fantasy-wise. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Later. Go Chiefs!